Did you know about the greatest trick ever played on the Roman Empire? An empire that believed it was invincible, undefeatable, until one man exposed their greatest weakness. Hannibal Barca, the brilliant general of Carthage, had already shattered Rome on the battlefield, but his final blow wasn't struck with weapons. It was a cunning trick that turned Rome's pride against itself. Stay tuned to discover how Hannibal outsmarted Rome in a way no one expected. Many years ago, in a time long before the empires we know today rose to power, there existed an empire so mighty that it stretched across the Mediterranean, from the golden sands of Egypt to the icy rivers of Britannia. The Roman Empire, an unstoppable force, built on strength, discipline, and pride. To its people, Rome was invincible. Its legions marched on and conquered, its generals were gods, and its cities stood as symbols of unyielding power. But even the might of Rome could not last forever. In the far reaches of the Mediterranean, across the vast sea, there was a land that had been conquered by the Romans long ago, Carthage. But from the ashes of this once proud city arose a man who would challenge Rome in ways it could never have imagined. His name was Hannibal Barca, and his story would become one of legend. Hannibal was no ordinary general. His mind was as sharp as a sword, and his heart burned with a deep love for his homeland. When Rome attacked Carthage, leaving nothing but ruins in their wake, Hannibal swore an oath to take revenge. And so, at the young age of 26, he set out on a path that would forever alter the course of history. He crossed the Alps with an army unlike any Rome had ever seen: elephants, fierce warriors, and soldiers willing to die for their cause. But Rome, confident in its superiority, scoffed at the idea of a small force threatening their empire. The Romans believed that no army, no matter how determined, could stand against the might of Rome. But Hannibal, the brilliant tactician, had already proven them wrong. For many months he had waged war against the Romans on their own soil. The Roman legions, powerful as they were, could not match his cunning. He defeated them at Trebia, at Lake Trasimene, and at Cannae, where he decimated an entire Roman army, in a battle that would be studied by military leaders for centuries to come. Yet despite all his victories, despite the blood he had spilled and the lives he had shattered, Rome refused to bend. It would take more than just military might to bring the Romans to their knees. It would take something far more powerful, something that no army, no matter how great, could ever truly defeat. Rome's greatest strength, Hannibal knew, was not in its legions, but in its pride. The Romans were so certain of their invincibility that they failed to see the cracks in their empire. They believed that no one could ever challenge them for long, that their greatness was etched in stone. But Hannibal knew their weakness. It was their belief in their own invulnerability that would lead to their downfall. And so, in the quiet of his tent one fateful night, as the stars shone brightly above, Hannibal devised a plan. It would not be a plan of brute force, nor one fought with swords and shields. It would be a plan of the mind, one that would play on the Romans' pride and make them believe they had already won. Hannibal gathered his most trusted officers. The air was thick with the scent of campfires and anticipation. He looked them in the eyes and said, "We will make them believe we have gone. We will leave their land, make them think we have abandoned our fight. And when they believe the danger has passed, we will strike, not with our swords, but with their own fear." The officers were silent, their faces filled with a mix of confusion and intrigue. But Hannibal's eyes burned with the fire of someone who knew exactly what needed to be done. "Rome's greatest strength is not its soldiers, nor its legions," he continued. "It is their belief that they are invincible. We will make them believe that we have withdrawn, that we are no longer a threat. We will make them lower their guard, and in that moment, we will strike at their very heart." The officers nodded, understanding the gravity of the plan. They had fought many battles, But this one would be unlike any other. They would not be fighting with swords, they would be fighting with the very nature of fear itself. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this historical tale, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Trendy Tale for more amazing stories from the past. And be sure to hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.